Welcome back. Big box retailer Target is facing an avalanche of criticism over its swelling inventory issues, leading to a dismal revenue forecast for the rest of the year. Yet the company surprised everyone with a 20% dividend rate hike. Toby, is this really a good time for Target to be increasing shareholder payouts?
Well, and there's a couple things at play here. If you go back over history, Veronica, of what returns, it used to be 7%, now it's about 9.5% a year over the last 40 years. About 55% of the returns from stocks historically have been dividends. And for many years, people, because stocks were just automatically going up every year, never thought about dividends. Well, guess what? Dividends now, we're back to the future, as I keep saying. Now dividends are important. Secondarily, that's a decision they make about how can they use their extra cash. They can buy back stock, they can pay a dividend, or they can invest in more inventory. Well, we know they don't need any more inventory, and they have enough stores. So I think this is a prudent way because, living in a capitalist society, I know it's horrible, but we answer to our shareholders. I answer to my shareholders. They answer their shareholders. And so doing this, I think, makes sense in the long term.
Mitch, What are your thoughts?
Well, let's talk about the inventory build. We shouldn't punish them as a society for building up on inventory because it's been so hard for the last 18 months for them to acquire inventory, and they didn't want to get caught without it because a retailer without inventory isn't a retailer. And I agree with Toby completely. How many options do you have? They could open new stores, but they're certainly not going to do that right now because they probably can't get the workers for those new stores. Yeah. They're not going to expand their existing stores because they don't need to do that, and that's ridiculously costly. So what are they going to do? They're going to invest in their business one of two ways. They're either going to give a dividend to shareholders, which is the commitment that they make to shareholders when they declare a dividend, that they're going to continue to do so, or they're going to buy their stock back. I think they're less vilified by paying a dividend than they are by buying their stock back. So, listen, it's likely that they're going to have great deals on that inventory to get it off of the shelves. Some of that inventory is seasonal, so they're going to have to move it. And some of that inventory are staples like food that aren't perishable. And you know what? If they end up having to lower the price of Pop-Tarts to get the Pop-Tarts off the shelf and it becomes deflationary, you know what? Go to Target and buy your Pop-Tarts, okay?
Right.
It's not a bad thing.
Mitch, I was just hoping they had too much inventory in Scotch, but evidently they don't sell booze.
They do in New York, actually. They sell beer.
Oh, do they? Oh, cool.
Yeah, they sell beer, but go to Costco for that. You'll be fine, Toby.
Okay, I'm with you.
There you go. Look. The thing about Target is that when you look at their hourly wages, they've been stuck paying out that minimum wage rate, whereas competitors like Walmart were willing to actually up the ante for employees. And Mitch, you are right. They open up new stores. They're not going to be able to find people, but I don't think they have enough people in their current stores right now. I mean, these inventory issues that they have, it's not just a back of the building type of inventory mess. You ever walk through a Target? I mean, there's boxes of stuff all over the floor, all over the sales floor, and that only leads me to believe that they just don't have enough employees to actually put the stuff on the shelves to try to send it out. But it just seems like it's.
But by the way, Todd, that's still better than a Ross store where the inventory is actually on the floor. If you go to a Ross store,
there you go.
Literally, there's a pair of pants lying on the floor.
Well,
so I'd rather see it in a box.
I get the CEO Brian Cornell wanting to up the dividend. The stock had been taking a beating. Obviously, it's now dancing with its 52-week low. But since that announcement came out, the stock still has been trending lower. So clearly, investors are thinking, you know what, this is a place I want to stay away from. And I think that you're going to have some type of shareholder activist out there who's going to be just start screaming, looking for change, because even on a down day like today, Target was down, but Walmart was up. So something's got to give here. You start looking at that industry.
You know what, Todd, if you were a conspiracy theorist, and I don't know you well enough to know if you are, but actually thinking about what
only about Toby.
But think about it. If you pay out a special dividend or increase your dividend, and you are worried about shareholder activism, you just cut them off at the pass because you got rid of that cash, which they're going to want in the form of a special dividend. So
I think you're going to see more companies do this, to Mitch's point, because really, well-managed companies understand that shareholders, when they'll stay around for the dividend. They'll stick around.
True.
Target, remember, had 2 warnings. Typically, that's when you have 2 warnings, that means stuff is out of control, and you really are scared. So this is really the only alternative. So I would put them a little bit of outlier in the space. For the fact that we bought everything we possibly can at Target. I have like 22 different plates now from Target. I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
Well, look for the big markdowns. They're going to have to start really having serious markdowns there. And it's just going to get. And now I was in there the other day. They actually were selling TVs there, and they're giving away $250 gift cards if you buy a TV. I've never seen anything like it, and they're already discounted the television. So you talk about they're just trying to give the stuff away. They're like Joe Banks right now with their ties and shirts.
Well, a new poll came out and said 9 in 10 Americans are looking for a deal. So they're looking to maybe start hitting those thrift stores. So fantastic discussion. Well, it's no secret that inflation is everywhere. And there's one area that reached a record high this week. Here's a hint. It's not something you can get at the pump or grocery store. We'll have the answer coming up next.